Hello everyone, I'm Alan Tan from IdeaTech and I'm creating this webcast to show you how easy it is to create an Ajax-based application using DWR. You can get more information about DWR on getahead.org/DWR. You'll see there's a getting started documents and lots of samples for you to look at. Anyway, I'm going to show a webcast on how actually to create a validator using Ajax application in DWR. So further much ado, let's start off by creating a new project in Eclipse. Let's select a dynamic web project and let's call our project say DWR train and use all the default settings in the project. The very first step you wanted to do when integrating with DWR is, of course, to import the DWR jar file. Apparently, you can download this from the DWR site. Just download the jar. I have already downloaded, so I'm just attaching it to the project under the web.inf lib folder. Once that's done, the second step would be to include a servlet settings in your web.xml. So I'm going to edit my web.xml and specify that I wanted to use DWR. So you can get the sample content for web.xml on their site. In my case, I have it here, so we just put this script on the web.xml. Essentially, the important part here would be, the class file, the servlet class file, and we enable debug to true. That will allow us to see what are the classes accessible from DWR and that we are mapping all our DWR classes in /DWR path. Okay. Now, once that is done, the next step is to tell DWR what are the classes that we want to be accessible from our Ajax application. So in this case, we wanted to create a string util that has zero functionality. So to do that, we create a file called dwr.xml, and this XML should be in the same location where web.xml is, and the content of that would be something like this. Okay. Okay, this is a very simple XML script where we say we wanted a JavaScript class called string_util, or a class called com.ideatech.util, that string_util to be accessible in the JavaScript using the string_util name. So we specify and allow access on this class. So apparently the next step would be, of course, to create this class. So in this case, we wanted to create a project package first. Let's create the package com.ideatech.util and create a new class named string_util, and where we have several string functions. In this case, we could probably try out using a simple method called isEmpty. Okay. Um, Essentially, what this does is it checks if a string is empty or not. So it's a very simple class with a very simple method. And in dwr.xml, we enabled it so that it's accessible from DWR. So the next step is actually now to deploy the application. So I'm just creating the server and start. Okay, once that's deployed, we can then access our application. Since we have enabled debug in DWR, we should be able to see what are the methods accessible in DWR using using this folder, using this path. Localhost DWR train, which is our context, and this dish slash DWR. So now DWR is able to see that we have string util class accessible and that we have a method is empty. You can actually try to even send parameters here and run execute, and it will actually show you the results of the method. Okay, now to make our project a little more interesting, let's create a web page that will actually try to call the isEmpty method. So to do that, we create an HTML. In our case, let's call it just say validate.html. And in fact, I already have that code somewhere here in my folder. So just give me a second and I'll open the file. Okay, here you go. Let's bring that up to Dreamweaver. So our next step is actually to create a validate.html where first we include the DWR libraries and we have certain caller to the DWR class or our Java class we created earlier. Let's just take our attention to this input type and we put an ID username, and on key up it does a validate to check if the username is empty or not. So if the username is empty or not, we wanted to show certain message in real time while the key is being pressed on the text field. So what validate does is it gets the value of the text entry, assign it to name, and immediately we can call string util method right away, and even string util that is empty method, pardon, and with the parameter, and we have a callback function. The callback function is called once string util that is empty finish its operation, and it returns the result in data. And once we have the data, we can check if data is true. That means the name is blank, so we just show a message that please enter first name, else we show a message show no message. So let's just save this and let's try to access validate.xml. Okay, if you'll notice there's no message being shown because we haven't pressed any key yet. But once we started pressing keys, again it won't show any message because it's not empty. But if we try to put an empty text field, it simply displays please enter first name, and even if you enter space until you actually press a key. So in real time, every time you press a key in this text field, the application actually performs an Ajax call to request for a validation from the server side. So that's it for the first part of this tutorial. Hopefully I can spend a few more hours in the future to make more advanced topics about DWR. Thank you.